Hey, this is William for attackofthefanboy.com, and this is Gears of War 4, the soon-to-be released game for Xbox One and PC. Today we are taking a look at the Horde Mode and Versus. Are in the process of reviewing the game and have had a chance to kind of put Horde Mode through its paces, as well as Versus, which we'll be talking about a little bit later. Horde Mode is basically a 5-player cooperative mode that has players trying to survive 50 waves of increasingly difficult enemies. After every 10 waves, there's a boss wave where a boss enemy will come out, and it'll get progressively harder from the first wave in a segment of 10 till that 10th wave with the boss. During every wave, you're trying to hold off many different types of enemies that are in almost every, I think I've seen just about every enemy that was in the single player campaign. You're basically using a fabricator to build items to put into these multiplayer maps and try and hold off these hordes from basically killing everybody. It's a little bit new as far as, for Horde 3.0. There are bonus objectives during the waves that provide you with supplies. Like I said, you have that fabricator, that mobile fabricator that can be put down at any part of the map and then used to build things like barrier sentries, turrets, decoys, weapon lockers. And as you kill enemies on the battlefield, they'll drop energy. You'll run out there and pick up that energy, bring it back to the fabricator, and you can purchase new upgrades that way. As you see, there's some energy just sitting out there right then. Now, different classes have different bonuses, so for my guy to pick it up, who I'm using is an engineer, if there was a scout on our team, they could run out there, they get a bonus for picking up the energy. So any character can be any class, so you can pick any character that you want, and you can make them into an engineer or a scout or what have you. You've got 5 different classes. You've got the scout, and their focus is on gathering power and surviving. You've got heavies, which are your damage dealers. You have snipers, who are going to be using like the long shot to try and take down enemies in one shot. And then you have the engineer, who is who I am, who kind of has to both, kill enemies and keep the equipment maintained with a repair tool. So there's another portion of the Gears of War Horde Mode that's kind of new, and that's in the Gears of War gear cards. These have different things like character skins, weapon skins, and emblems, but they also can give you XP and credit boosts in Horde and the Versus mode. As far as for the Horde mode, though, they have a skill-based system that will allow you to kind of like do things specific for your character at a better pace. Say, you could repair turrets at a 50% pace, or you can, just make progression systems a little bit faster or accelerated. You can also craft in that gear card system. You can scrap unwanted cards and build new ones, and there are 4 different types of rarities, so you can get some common cards or rare cards. There's different gear packs. You've got the Versus booster, the Horde booster, the Operations pack, and the Elite pack. Everyone is given them something to start with, but after that you'll be earning them and purchasing them through currency that you earn by playing the game. So, but back more specifically to Horde Mode, we're playing here on the boss battle where we are fighting a Swarmac. Obviously, that thing came in and wiped out all of our reinforcements, our barbed wire, our turrets, and the bucket that I'm sitting in front of now is the actual fabricator. So if we had money, which you can see in the top right corner, or currency in the top right corner, we have 7,000 in the fabricator, and then things cost different amounts to set up, whether that's barbed wire, turrets, lockers, stuff like the stuff I had mentioned before. So if somebody was out running around collecting the currency, we would be able to kind of rebuild our reinforcements. As it stands, we're getting pushed back in this situation, so I can't even quite get out there to repair the barriers that we do have out there, which are noted in those 2 red health bars on the screen. But as far as my overall takeaway from this Horde mode, it's running a pretty similar blueprint to what we saw in Gears of War 3. There are some new systems in here, obviously, but it largely feels the same, and not so much has changed to make it feel entirely different from previous iterations of this mode in the series. It got pretty tough. We only managed to get to round 30, which I'm going to get into now. But as, say, for 21, we skip right to 30 here, but 21 would be a little bit easier to start out with, although enemies will get damage boosts, accuracy boosts, and stuff like that. So here is where we kind of lost control of this area at level 30, and it was just got to be a little bit tough. So as you see, we're kind of scrounging, looking for ammo before the round starts. That's because as soon as the round does start, everything disappears. You can see here on wave 30, we got enemy health at times 2.0, enemy accuracy at times 2.0. So enemies are going to be kind of tough. They're going to throw a lot of them at you, and you're going to have a big boss that's going to come in and kind of wreak havoc. So it's real hard to get. We should have probably moved our turrets even further back because once this boss starts to come in and kind of invade our area, we're not going to be able to really defend our position as well as we could. But the Horde mode was a lot of fun. Obviously, if you like cooperative gameplay, this is going to be a lot of fun for you, and especially if you're playing it with friends. This is the mode that originated or coined the term Horde mode. It's kind of a genre definer. Even though cooperative games were out long before Gears of War, Horde mode kind of made it popular and put it in mainstream. A lot of people were trying to copy that for a long time. None of them quite get it quite as good as Gears with their third-person cover system. Tons of weapons, tons of big bosses to fight, and overall difficulty and challenge you get from trying to complete it with your friend. So this is Gears of War's Versus mode. Obviously, a lot of people, if you're a Gears fan, you're going to be familiar with this Versus mode. They put out a pretty good multiplayer last year with Gears of War Ultimate Edition, but I have to say that this new one kind of looks and plays a lot better than that remake. Obviously, there's a brand new engine involved here with the Unreal Engine 4. Everything's running at 60 frames per second. It looks amazing. The gunplay is tight, and it's a lot of fun to play. There's, like the Horde mode, Gears cover system based gameplay is kind of genre defining in its own. The cover system and gunfights that can be had in Gears of War multiplayer is unmatched by anything in the third person genre. So there's a lot of changes that have been made to Gears of War Versus. You can play any skill level can play Gears of War Versus. You've got humans versus bots in a social type playlist. Actually, you can just there's humans versus bots in a more newcomer friendly playlist. You've got a social playlist that has unranked core modes and allows you to vote on them. And then you have your core playlist, which Gears of War Faith will remember. You got games like Warzone, Team Deathmatch, Dodgeball, King of the Hill, Guardian, Arms Race, and then competitive playlists like Execution and Escalation. Right here we're playing Dodgeball, which is a mode that, like the game Dodgeball, once you get killed, your team has to get a kill for you to come back in the game. So you respawn a teammate when you kill an enemy, and the first team to basically eliminate the other team wins the round. So you can kind of use the user interface on the top left corner to kind of see what the other team has, who's left, how many people are left, and how urgent it is to get those those last guys. So we're just having one round. We're going to show this round of dodgeball before we move on to the next one. And I think we're going to get them pretty much right here. They've got one guy left against all of us, though he did put down somebody. So they get a teammate back. I think we're going to trap him right here. Yeah. So that was dodgeball, and here we're moving on to arms race, which the Coalition showed this off at PAX West, and it's basically a team-based version of gun game. If anybody's familiar with like a Call of Duty or a Battlefield that uses, has a gun game that goes through different tiers of weapons. You have to get kills with them to unlock the next tier. This is kind of similar, except you're playing as a team. So we have to get 3 kills. Right now, we're all using boom shots. We have to get 3 kills with boom shots, and we'll move on to the torque bow. We move on from the torque bow, and so on and so forth. This was a lot of fun as well. I was not expecting this to be as fun as it was, because it seemed like it was going to take a long time, and it wasn't going to be that seem a little bit long, as we weren't getting our kills right away. But I think, and it was the first time we had played the game as well, so there was, some level of learning going on, at least in this playthrough. But you go through every single weapon. We're going to skip around here as we just got to one of the new weapons called the drop shot, and you fire it across the map, and then you can drop it down, release the button, and drop it down wherever you want. This is one of the cooler new weapons. This isn't anything new, though. For people who played the beta on Xbox One got to see the drop shot. That was on one of the maps in the beta. I find it's just easy to shoot it directly at people when you're next to them. But it is hard to kind of get the feel for that thing, even though some of the guys we were playing with here in this were having no problems with that thing at all. It's a good cover breaker, at the very least. And this is one of the other new weapons that, we just turned off. This is a single shot rifle, and then that other one was kind of a modified shotgun. But as you can see, there's a lot going on here. This game mode pushed a lot of action as people were trying desperately to kind of keep up with the other team in terms of what guns they were using. But it's a good, nice new idea for the versus mode, even though most people probably will kind of stick with the tried and true kind of team deathmatch, King of the Hill type matches. So we're only going to be showing 3 of the multiplayer maps at launch, but there are 10 of them. So basically you're going to get 9 new maps in Gridlock. There'll be additional DLC maps released every month post-launch, and there's a mix of both new maps and remasters in that DLC release. All DLC maps are free for the public to play. Maps will rotate in and out of playlists as new ones are released. And people can buy them if they want to play them on privately or on dedicated servers privately. But only the host needs to own the map, so it's not one of those DLC things or map pack things where everybody has to own it to play it. If you have a friend who purchases them all, you can play on any of them. So we're finishing up here on gun game or arms race. And so as you saw, it started with the boom shot, and it's going to end here with the Boltok. And weapons, as I said, swap for the entire team every 3 kills. So you don't just swap weapons, your whole team does. So if you, as a team, get the 3 kills, your weapon's going to switch over automatically. Basically, the winner is the first team to get 3 kills with all 13 weapons. It's a good social game to play, and as Microsoft kind of alluded to, or the Coalition actually kind of alluded to, it kind of potentially acts as a weapons tutorial for the players. You get to learn all the different weapons, how they shoot, their reload timing mechanics, and just how the game plays without being in that really, really tight competitive environment where everybody is rushing for the more powerful weapons. So for the newcomer, Arms Race is probably a nice game to get your feet wet, get a good feel for how the guns play, how the characters move, and working as a team as you need to do in some of the more competitive modes. And finally, we have some Escalation. Now, this was one of the more interesting game modes that we played in our review session. It's designed with esports playing in mind. Well, some games haven't had the best track record on that stuff, but it's basically an objective-based 3-game ring game mode, where the round winner is the first team to capture all 3 points or score a certain amount of points by holding 2 out of 3, etc. So when you lose a round in Escalation, you're allowed to place a weapon on the map at the end of the round. It's a best of 13, so you have halftime after 6 rounds. The map is cleared of weapons, respawn timers reset, and the rings move around the map. It's quite a long, kind of not grueling because it's a lot of fun, but as you can see, there's the 13 different rounds, and you'll be able to check out the kind of how the map is populated with new weapons here. So blue team's in control of placing whatever weapon they want. We're going to take the boom shot and put it down here in the very middle of the map, I believe, which is going to make things a little bit different. So instead of it starts changing the game up as you play it. Instead of running out and running into the spawn points, you might want to work with your team. So somebody gets or tries to go for the boom shot, kind of like a traditional Gears of War, online mode, but just with the added wrinkle of if you lose, you're placing. There becomes more strategy involved with the game as it goes on, and rounds progress. More weapons are placed on the map, and you kind of have to strategize differently. Whether it's more beneficial to go out and grab the points, or whether it's more beneficial to go out and grab the weapons. Whatever you do first might give you an advantage of maybe taking back those rings. It can get pretty competitive in there for sure, and it's fast paced. It's not a huge map. You can get to all the points fairly quickly. So these are the only 3 modes that we got to play in our review sessions. There's a matchmaking system that's not quite live yet, or at least there's just not enough people out here to be playing the game at this point. There is going to be some dynamic matchmaking that's supposed to be able to put people in with their own skill ranks, which there are 4 of: bronze, silver, gold, or 5: bronze, silver, gold, onyx, and diamond. We have not yet seen that in action, but playing this online in a private match with other reviewers and what I'm assuming are either testers or developers, we had a good experience, a smooth and stable experience with Gears of War 4. A lot of the character models look better than they did in the beta, which some people might have been complaining about. The game played really well. This final version of Gears of War 4 seems like it's going to be something that has got multiplayer fans. We'll keep multiplayer fans happy. So we're going to be moving into, I think we're going to skip around a little bit here and go towards the end of the match where we start placing more items on the field of battle. But as you can see, you can kind of get the gist of what Escalation is. So that's going to do it for our small look at the online multiplayer and cooperative aspects of Gears of War 4. The game is ready to arrive on October 11, 2016 for Xbox One and Windows 10. You can get this game a few days early by purchasing the Ultimate Edition, which unlocks on October 7th, 2016 and includes the Season Pass for the game. But our takeaway from the online multiplayer versus modes that we got a chance to play and the cooperative Horde Mode is that Gears is obviously looking and feeling like it's in good hands with the Coalition. It's been a long wait for Gears of War fans, but it appears that this is going to be one that certainly satisfies that long wait. I'm William for attackofthefanboy.com. You can find our full review of Gears of War 4 on October 6, 2016. You can find that there on our website. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos. We'll have a full playthrough of Gears of War 4 single player up when that embargo is over with. And you can check it out for yourself beginning October 7, 2016. And as usual, thanks for watching, and like and subscribe if you want more of these videos.